So this episode, I'm making it right now with a lot of heaviness in my heart and there's just a lot of thoughts in my head. It's too much anger. The topic is about childhood abuse. This time, not the predatory perversion, like not ones like necessarily, molesting, raping children, usually done by families, and that's how it actually gets hidden so easily. But for some reason, those kids just take it into their adulthood, into their graves, and they don't say anything. But this is the one that, a lot of human beings who've been abused in childhood usually suffered. This is like the sort of main one, which is neglect, and physical, emotional, psychological, physiological abuse, and not the other one, the one of rape and molestation, stuff like that. I separate that because that's predatory. I put that somewhere else. These, we would call it, like violence. We would give it different terms. Evil is different, it's diverse. The highest one is the perversion. Because you can beat someone up, but they'll heal. But raping and molesting someone, that you killed that person. That's not something we're going to put in the mix with everything else. I like to separate my episodes. So if anyone, is listening to me right now that's been following my podcast or you're new to it, basically I can't really tell the human race who I am right now, but I've just shared a little bit up to what God allowed, which is that I'm not really a regular human, therefore I'm not a regular female. God basically chose me to be persecuted by demonic spirits, which is something that only happens to prophets and messengers, divine people. So it's not something that regular humans could experience. God did that for many reasons. I can't expose all of them. I just expose some of them. One would be to teach me how they corrupted his scriptures, his religion, created all the religions in the world, persecuted and abused his prophets, how they always accused them of being the perverts and the sexist, which is the two things they came to get rid of. You get me? After they died, they would always accuse them of bringing that nonsense down, corrupting scriptures, putting that nonsense into it. And that's why women are abused every day, because the area that would protect them the most, right? Scripture, a place where God, right, is respected. The devil was allowed by God to accuse him of being the pervert, the sexist, the crazy, the lunatic, the unjust, dumb God, okay? So I don't even know if I can record this episode. I wouldn't really say I'm angry. I think I'm emotional. I think I'm about to cry, but then it turns into rage. Because yes, I know this evil happens in the world, which is, abuse the children, but when you see it, then it's different. Do you agree? So, anyways. So my podcast is about, me talking about how the devil corrupted Islam, which is God's original religion. And Christianity is the corrupted version of Islam. That's why they're so similar. And the Bible, it was God's book. So he corrupted Islam so badly that he made them completely ignore the Bible and abandon it. When you're supposed to still use that book, you're supposed to ignore the false parts, the parts about Jesus and all that, because that's God's identity that was distorted. God is a God, and he's not in his own creation. He doesn't have a son, a wife. He doesn't get born. He doesn't die. He doesn't die for you. All that nonsense, okay? That's the corruption. His identity is destroyed. Islam, the identity is not destroyed because it came down to fix the corruption. So God's not going to allow that to be corrupted again. But God allowed morality to be corrupted in Islam, which is He allowed the devil to do the same thing again in human history. He's always done. Put sexism and perversion into his religion and other sort of similar evils. But the focus is always perversion and sexism because there's only two genders. The devil is male, so he's going to use the male gender to go after the female gender in his attempt to separate them. That is that simple. Literally, that's that basic. So he has to choose perversion. If he had to look at all the evil God created, he's going to choose this one because there's only two genders. Separate them is obviously what he's thinking then. Make evil constantly happen between them. And obviously that would affect the other types of ways that those two genders, right, interact. Whether they're neighbors or parents and children this time. You get me? There's different relationships they have. So yeah, perversion doesn't just mean a stranger male abusing a stranger female. No, perversion would affect, the other areas of the male female. You get me? Like a brother harming his sister, a father harming his daughter, a sister accusing maybe her brother who's innocent and a good person of maybe him being a pervert. You get me? It goes in many ways. The perversion. So this, so basically, because of that demonic persecution, God intentionally, keyword intentionally, made me suffer all my life so that I would see what evil looks like. So He first made me get born into a very evil family that has all the qualities of evil. You know what I mean? Because every family that's evil, there's going to be some, right? They probably can't have all. That's a very rare case. They have all, okay? Perversion, sexism, violence, psychological, physical, emotional, every type of abuse you can think of, okay? Is possible, therefore, within them because they're perverted, they're sexist, they're psychopaths, they're narcissistic, whatever you can. They're thieves, they're crazy. So they're capable of anything. Do you get what I mean? And God blinded me and made me forget and prevented me from doing what I naturally would have done, which is to take legal action a long time ago to expose them so that, they have a lot of children, obviously. That's another sign of evil humans. They have too many kids, okay? Because they want to abuse them, okay? Goodness, I'm about to lose my mind. So it's really not a comfortable subject for me. But I have to do it because I feel like it could help someone. And I have to talk about the spiritual connection. Because humans obviously know what abuse looks like. They hear about it every day. I'm always trying to help you see where it's coming from, how demons are behind it and what the solution is. I'm trying to give you the spiritual solution, which then would give you the physical human solution, because you can't just have courts every day punishing these humans. Because then you're always just treating the problem. You're never preventing it. Do you agree? We want to decrease evil. We don't want to fight with it all the time. We want less stress. Don't you agree? So by learning the spiritual, we learn how to prevent it. How to even prevent these humans from having children. I don't see what's wrong with that. If someone's evil as hell, I'm sure there's ways to prevent them from having children without ever, you get me, you're not doing evil to them yourself. Goodness, you have no rights to their body. I mean, like let's say they go to prison, okay, they're not gonna have kids. Do you agree? Like that, like you punish them in a way that they don't get to enjoy this life and have kids. That's what I mean. In a moral, healthy way of preventing them from having kids. Not you snatching kids out of them. What the hell are you thinking? I'm talking about a righteous way of stopping that. We're not evil, right? We're the people of God. We're not going to come after your body as a female and take your kids away. What the hell? No. We're not going to prevent you from having sex. That's your human right. We're talking about, you get me, by punishing them, by isolating them, by getting them out of society, then they can't have kids. Do you agree? Like if you put them in prison, when they already have kids, you take it away. You get me? You take away the status they gave themselves. They act like gods. You take the kids away. Just logical things, you know? But we have to also focus on prevention, such as catching them before they even have kids. You get me? When people are just young and growing up, when you notice predatory, when you notice evil in human, that's when you want to report and find evidence. Because we have to respect evidence, right? Anyone can be accused. And then, right, when it's so obvious and everyone can see it, then okay. If they're locked up, now they can't have kids. Do you agree? So it's like that. We just prevented it. We prevented innocent kids from being here, like that. That moral way of prevention. You're not actually taking away their right. You get me? To do what they want with their body. That's not our right. We're just sort of, you know what I mean? We're sort of stopping their tracks before they even, whatever. You get the point. So in order to teach me how the devil corrupted religion, scriptures, God's identity, morality, which then would explain how he then also goes out every day and commits evil in the world, such as abuse to children, females, males, elderly, teenagers, animals, pests. Every category is being abused in different ways. How they abuse you in school, how they abuse you in your home, like as a child, how they abuse you when you grow up, how they abuse you at a workplace, how they abuse you in public transportation places like trains, buses, you know, places where you take taxi, airports, homeless shelters, mental hospital, jail, the typical street you go to, places where you receive a service like restaurants, libraries, coffee shops, hotels. God took me to all these places and made the devil persecute me using evil human beings. And they abused me in all these environments. You know, like they harassed me just so he could show me all the ways evil is happening. So that then I could see the connection. I can see how demons do it. And I don't want you to be like, well, how does that teach you anything? Evil is evil. We all know what it looks like. How did that help you? It helps me because I know it seems difficult, right, and complex. But I learned how to prevent it. It's actually really easy. I have solutions. I just can't offer the solutions now. The solutions, I would offer it in the future, which angers me too. I'm always telling God, why don't you help us now? Whatever you've taught me, why don't you let me go tell human beings right now so I can go help them now? People are suffering now. It's not time yet. And he doesn't give me stability in my own life. I'm constantly under demonic attack. I'm constantly going through difficult situations. I can't even help you even if I wanted to because I get distracted by the abuse I'm going through over there and then over there and then over there every day. Demons constantly possess evil cops and follow me around and approach me. They try to accuse me of random crime. You know, I go through things like that. So, you know what I mean? Every area evil has entered. Employees, typical employees, law enforcement or government type of employees, the courts, everywhere, anything, anywhere in the earth you could think of. He took me there. Places I don't belong, like a jail and a mental hospital. God accused me of mental illness. He accused me of being a criminal by making demons persecute me. They harass me. They assault me. Then they accused me of being the bad one. You get me to protect themselves or defend themselves, which is what criminals do, right? They assault you, then they act like the victim, right? Okay, that's what they did. These evil humans were possessed to harass me, assault me, commit crime against me, and then accused me. And then that's how God created an excuse to put me at a jail and a mental hospital, two places a person like me would never go to. You get me? So qualities I don't have, such as evil or mental illness, he accused me of it. You know? I don't mean God, right? Accuse me. I mean, he made demons accuse me of it to take me to those environments because God also wants me to help these humans who are mentally ill. The ones who, all over the streets who are homeless, 99.9 of them are criminals. They came out of jail or prison and they're all mentally ill. So they're not actually good people. You get me? They're actually bad people. It's just a tiny few that are just not necessarily criminal or whatever. And so it's very disturbing for me then when I was made to become homeless by God. It's not like other countries where poor people are good and bad. Here in the U.S., homeless really is just technically that criminal. So you're not going to feel comfortable being homeless too. You get me? Because that term is really labeled a bad criminal, crazy, lunatic, drug addict, mentally ill, violent person. You get what I mean? So it's not comfortable for me that God then made me homeless. Because there are no normal homeless people who just healthy people, went to school, had a job, then lost it, just became poor. It's not like that. It's really easy to get a job. And it is for me too. I easily get jobs unless God is stopping me. So it's really mentally ill people who are homeless because they don't want a job and they can't even handle it if you gave it to them, because that mental problem, you get me? Which mental illness doesn't exist. I explained on my podcast. It's just demonic possession. Their demons make them do that. Their demons use them. Those demons will not allow them to be like the other people who are possessed, who are wealthy and rich and have education and everything. Because these ones descended to a higher level of evil. You know what I mean? They got attacked in the mind way too much and descended a little bit to insanity. Okay, so they're just more evil, okay? Their mental is just gone. But why? Like, what started it? Abuse. Abuse started it. As children, they were abused extremely. And don't go there being like, oh, poor them. No, then they became abusers too. I just told you they're usually from jail and prison. Then they became abusers. So we're not feeling sorry for no one here. We were feeling sorry for their abuse, yes. That innocent child that they were. But now, no. We don't feel sorry for how their life is now, because that's their choice. We separate what we're feeling sorry for. You get me? You have to be specific with what you're feeling sorry for. Don't just be like, I feel sorry for them. What if they murdered someone and came out of prison? Who are you feeling sorry for? You get me? So I'm being specific. We feel sorry for their abuse that happened to them, right? But now we don't treat them like a good person anymore, because they're no longer a normal, innocent person. Now they're evil too. Okay, we're done with them then. You get me? But we have to find solutions to get them off the street, because not only is it going to be unsafe for people, I feel unsafe every time I see them in the street. Not only is it a nuisance, it's a demonic thing to stand in the streets and loiter. Righteous people, good people, decent people, people of God, they don't stand outside and hang around streets. Humans have meaning for why they go out and then they come home, correct? So hanging around the streets, we're not animals, okay? We're not cats. We just loiter. It's a demonic thing. Only evil humans loiter. Only they walk around outside because they're criminal. They're looking for someone to harass or rape or kill. They're not normal, okay? So it's a sign of criminality. It's a sign of evil heart when you're just always outside. If you don't have a reason, you get me? So for that reason, the demon is trying to create, the devil is trying to create excuses all throughout human history to make evil males always just go outside, just loiter, usually at night, which is why they used to tell many females don't go outside. It's not safe. Because that pattern got created by the devil. So we still have to find a way to get them off the street. I have ideas, I have solutions, I have things that God has taught me to do, especially for those of them that will not work. Or, you get me? Like, let's say, for example, people come together or the government comes up with a way to give them a housing, okay? There's rules, obviously, right? Don't commit crime, don't do bad things, don't smoke here. They're going to break it because they're possessed at a high level. The majority of the human race is possessed, but these ones are like, basically they're evil humans, but they're the worst of the evil. They're like the worst kind. They're like the rapist level. They're extremely the worst. They will never behave. You get me? They're always going to act crazy. They're not innocent. They're not sick, okay? It's not insanity. Insanity, someone could actually, like dementia. No. It's intentional. What they do is intentional. They're possessed. They and their demon agree to always do that. They agree to harass people, make noise, irritate people, take their clothes off. They're not innocent people. They're evil, okay? If you're actually a good person who would never do evil to others, and the demons come after your mind to give you psychological problems, then you're just going to have mental torture. You get me? You're going to have depression, anxiety. You're going to hear voices. Okay, you could say you have mental problems, but that doesn't mean you're doing what the typical homeless or mentally ill human is doing. Which exactly? They're criminal. They're harassing people. They're bothering people. They're going into businesses when there's other places they can go during the day. There's shelters I have seen with my own eyes. Nonprofits and shelters giving them, hygiene bags. These nice new clothes. It's not even used. And they don't take it. Someone gives them a shirt. I'm watching them get nice clothes in front of me. It's freezing cold outside. They don't take it. They throw it on the ground and spit on it. You need to understand these humans actually are keeping themselves homeless. They don't want to get into the shelters that are offered for them. Because anytime you say, I'm homeless, can you help me? Their condition is always mental illness, right? Recovery, rehab, etc. It's for them, because normal people are not going to become homeless. They're going to know someone, at least, someone to crash with, someone to live with, some roommate. You're going to get an easy cashier job. You'll be fine. It's not logical for just a typical normal person to be homeless too long, unless there's some sort of economic recession, correct? Because that's what it means to be normal. We're going to be fine. So shelters don't care, therefore, to create shelters for normal people. They really do it for these humans who are mentally ill, because only they're really going to be homeless. Okay, so when God made me homeless, I obviously struggled to find a shelter because it's for them. Okay, but God was trying to show me something. I don't need a shelter because He made me homeless. So it's okay if no one even made one. I mean, He taught me the solution to that as well. Obviously, one day humans will need that, right? What if your house burned down? What if you're an elder, senior, something happened to your retirement and you can't retire like that? There's obviously normal humans who need shelter too. I'm just saying. So they don't take these shelters. They always want you to believe that the shelters are abusing them or have evil rules, or that's some of them. Everything in this life is always some, not all. You can never say every employer is bad in terms of how they at least just treat everyone, right? There's always evil humans who target some people. Okay, but other people had a great experience working for that company. Do you agree? Okay, so evil in that given environment cannot touch everyone. Everyone's different. So every shelter cannot abuse every single homeless. That's impossible. There's bad shelters, there's nice shelters, correct? Because everything is different. Not every shelter on the face of this country can be evil. There's good ones. I've been to them myself. What I'm saying is they don't want to take it. They don't want to go to them. And if you're like, maybe they're forcing them to take medication, and maybe these humans don't like medication. They don't force them. There's no force. They just ask, and they're willing to pay money to get them their prescriptions or whatever. And again, there are obviously places where they try to treat them like property and try to actually force a human to take something, which is another one of the things that the devil did that God wants to get rid of, which is mental hospitals, mental illness, drugs, medication, stripping people in jail, prison, mental hospitals. All these ways they control, objectify, and harm and dominate the human body as if they are God. Those are the things that are evil that we need to take out as a society. God will take it out. I want you to know that. That's one of the changes that are coming. And it got introduced, obviously, in these European countries because they're crazy as hell, okay? And then it got introduced into other races. So evil always starts somewhere and then it spreads. So what I'm saying is there are shelters that don't have such types of, extreme obsessions with them or try to control them. They just don't want to go there. I've seen them fight and act dumb and get themselves kicked out they're warned multiple times very gently to shut up and be quiet. Okay, no one's actually telling them to shut up. Be quiet. They wake all of us up. They're just screaming, talking, they won't shut up. That's intentional. Okay, they're possessed. That means that when their demon wants to take control of them and use them to harass the environment, whether with noise, disorderly behavior, perverted behavior, any behavior that's inappropriate or harmful, it's just like a normal person who's trying to do evil. You get me? It's free will. They agreed with the demon to do it. So these humans are going to go to hell just like any other evil human. Just because they have mental illness doesn't mean God's going to say to them, what you did that was bad is okay. No, they chose to do evil. It's just that as a consequence of their possession, demons torture them a little more mentally to make them behave, again, with their free will, a bit too extreme, a bit too irrational, a bit too out of, okay, and then that becomes then crazy. But God is not going to just allow a demon to possess you and turn you lunatic. Okay, so I want you to see, yes, they're possessed, but it's their fault. Do you get what I'm saying? Just like the other humans over there who are possessed for the same reason. They have evil in their heart. So what's usually acting crazy, talking too much in a way that you and I would say, but a human doesn't have the energy to speak for 3 hours straight. Humans get tired. They need to drink water. They thirst. There you go. That's a demon. It doesn't get tired technically. It can change with the other demon inside their body. They have certain sort of, abilities that would allow them to do things like that. Demons are weak, okay? They're not powerful, but God gave them certain powers that just allow them to use the human in a way that you think that they have so much power. No, it's just because of the invisibility. It seems like they have a lot of power. No, there's multiple demons in that one body. So one could take a break. The other one could start talking out of them now. You get me? So then they're taking turns. They get tired too. Okay, I've seen them. So in God making demons use these possessed humans, right? The extreme ones who are like mentally ill, homeless, those crazy ones, lunatics who came out of prison, jail. The ones who are just like the sort of decent ones in society, all of them, police who are corrupt. Any time and any area and any type of human God used, right? He was teaching me how demons cause that type of human to appear, that type of level of human, because they're all different. Right? Because the rapist, the murderer, they're also mentally ill in that sense. You get me? They're possessed too. They also have all those psychological torture the demon is doing to them. It controls them. Okay, but why are they able to just live normally, correct? And these ones act crazy and irrational because demons choose how they want to use the human. As long as the human gives them permission, they choose how to use them. They can turn this one into whatever you see every day today is labeled mental illness. And then they made mental illness so diverse and made it into so many other... they made it into a diverse set of mental illnesses, right? It's diverse. There's so many types. So, I'm sorry, I went off in a different long topic. So, in God making me go to strange places and be homeless, and I'm always in the street, and he did it in COVID also for some time, so that then, since COVID is caused by demonic attack on the human race, it's a spiritual thing. This April 8 eclipse, all the stuff you're hearing, everything is spiritual. Everything's connecting. A lot of the things that are happening in this country are actually happening because demons are attacking me. I just don't want to say it right now because it's not going to make sense and it's going to seem too arrogant. But there's a lot of changes that demons do to this country. A lot of ways they change their rules or their laws or like a business that maybe I used a lot. They're going to start to close that place and do construction all of a sudden because that's the demonic gang stalking I go through. All of a sudden it has construction. And people think it's just construction. But it's actually a demonic attack on me because I needed to use that place that week, that month. So a lot of things are happening to the country, and people think it's just COVID or other things, but it's actually something demons did that week, that month, that year to attack my life. So when I start sharing my future testimony of how all this stuff happened, then you're going to start to understand what's going on. You know, it's not just me. There's other things going on that are all connecting. Okay, so now I'm going to start the subject on child abuse that I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry I went on in this direction. It's just that I was trying to say that God made me go through abuse as a child as well so that I could understand this evil as well and offer solutions, not just for treatment, right? Because humans already know how to treat the situation to some degree. No, prevention. We need to focus on prevention. We need to decrease evil. So I have some ideas. If you knew how many different types of areas of the human race God wants me to bring help or solution, you'd be like, but how can one person do all that? You know? So that's why I've been suffering all my life. I'm almost 30 now. That's why it's so long. Because he's trying to put me through every age I've ever been, every sort of environment I've ever been to. He showed me an evil that happens in that situation. Just so that then I could understand all the other human beings, those evils they go through that one person cannot go through all at once. Correct? So, because God allowed demons to, use the evil family that God put me in that was possessed and caused me neglect. And when I say physical abuse, I mean like they would just hit you and stuff. I'm not someone you can actually abuse or attack or harm. I'm not like that. You get me? I would actually have the strength to kill you. You can't do that to me. And also, I'm someone that's actually under God's protection. You can't actually touch me as a demon or human or anything like that. So I'm not a regular human. That's what I mean. I just can't explain the other meaning behind that. So I'm not someone you can actually attack or hit or touch. Do you get what I'm saying? God makes them every now and then maybe touch my shoulder. They want me to kill that person. Because that's actually what I would do. I swear, touch my shoulder, I'll kill you. That's actually my nature, because I'm not like you. I'm not you, a regular human. I cannot tolerate perversion. You get me? I'm not talking about a normal person asking for help. I'm talking about humans don't touch strangers, okay? Only perverts do that, but they try to always act like they need your help or whatever. So I'm talking about demons persecuting me, intentionally possessing a very filthy, perverted human and trying to touch me. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm talking about something like that. Then obviously I would want to kill them, you get me? And I have to constantly restrain that because they obviously want me to kill that human, you get me? Because the goal is to accuse me just like the prophets, accuse me of being bad as well as crazy, which they accuse prophets of always being crazy. And when I say prophets, you're like, who's prophets? Moses, Noah, John, Abraham, Solomon, Jesus, those great men, okay? God is putting me through what they went through to some degree and other things that they didn't go through so I could expose then all the lies that were created after their time has ended. And as well as when they were alive too, just why things always went the way they went. I basically really came to help teach the spiritual hidden knowledge that humans don't know about. And then other things that God also wants me to do. That's why I'm saying it's so diverse. This went on for 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. I hope you've been with me this whole time. Okay, so childhood neglect or abuse. They always have like a pattern. Since it's demonic spirits who are possessing those really evil human beings. See, they're already perverted. They were already evil before they had those children. So it's not something that enters them after they have a kid. That's why it always makes me mad when humans say, how could they do that to their kid? What the hell you mean to their kid? Why do humans insult their own creation, their own nature? Like, why are you mocking good people? As if good and evil humans are the same. Why you always act like if someone had a child that they're a good person? So now breeding, something anyone can do, any species can do, it's a very lowly thing. Just breeding, right? Like animals do, just having kids. You think people who are loving do that? Anyone can breed. What the hell is your problem? Anyone can have sex. Do you agree? What is your problem then? Then evil humans can have kids. So stop asking that dumb question. Why would they do that to their kid? What the hell are you talking about? This is a predator. The only reason they didn't prevent having kids, right? And actually wanted one to come to the world is so they would harm them. Because I always want human beings to never forget. If they forget anything I ever taught them, to at least not forget this. Evil humans do not have children and then one day randomly demons come to them and tell them to harm the kid. No, they have children so they could harm children. If you're an evil human, you cannot love a child. You cannot love a human. You cannot love anyone that's connected to you as a family or your own child. It's impossible. That's what it means to be evil. You're a bad person. Therefore, when you have children, you actually decided to have them and put yourself through that burden, right? For the female is that danger. Obviously, she could die from pregnancy. Why would she want to do that to herself? Isn't she evil? Aren't technically people who are loving gonna want to do that? Because they're willing to at least bear with it to have these wonderful kids come out because they want to be loving people. Do you get me? Why would an evil human who's selfish and crazy and enjoys harming others, why would they put themselves through that? You get me? It's because they desire to rape, kill, molest, abuse, neglect those children. So it's not something that just randomly happened, okay? They already had a plan. And sometimes it's unplanned, okay? The kid might have been born when they didn't even want it to be. So that makes them even more angry, and that kid gets targeted more, which is what shows, right? Sometimes they're evil, right? They abuse all kids, but they abuse one a little more, right? And that kid always feels blacklisted. They're not blacklisted, sorry. What's the word? I don't know, maybe scapegoated. Exactly, it's because, right, the evil human, they themselves are thinking, you shouldn't have been born. You know what I mean? I wasn't ready for this. And their demon is going to say, well, you know what to do. You know what to do. Neglect this one from the other stuff. From the stuff that the other kids are having from you on a daily basis. You know what I mean? They're willing to do some basic care for the other kids because they know if they don't, then the kids will be taken away. I don't want you to think they have some basic decency. No. And you might be thinking when I say evil humans, you're imagining the worst. You're imagining humans who are in prison right now. No, it's almost the average human in society. Children do not tell you about abuse. Adults today, if you sit down with the average coworker, classmate, stranger, ask them, they'll tell you they've been abused as a kid. They'll tell you their family is dysfunctional. Humans just don't talk about it. So you think what I'm talking about, these types of human beings who are parents, you think they're very rare. No, it's the average human in society. They're abusive as hell. It's just that their kids just choose to grow up with that. They don't disown them. They don't cut them off. They don't talk about it. No one ever tells them to change. They just allow these evil families and parents to continue to be the way they are. They instead change themselves. You get me? The victim changes themselves to adjust to them, update themselves to them. Oh, I feel anxious going home on Thanksgiving because, that crazy family, blah, blah. See, they've always hurting themselves, forcing themselves to go and be around toxic, harmful human beings and their cultures and their wickedness. No one ever says, hey, you guys need to change. You need to change to be like me because I'm decent. No one ever does that. And then many of them become evil themselves. You get me? So because they became evil themselves, now you're not really going to see the distinction. You're not going to see who really was a victim recently because the victim also joined. You get me? And now they all continue to grow up as adults. These siblings, for example, they all go and have their own individual families. And then the cycle continues. The way they were raised, they're going to raise the kids the exact same way. You get me? They're no longer what we would call victims now. Now they're actually not innocent and now they're evil too. You get me? But every day they're going to go out. You're going to see them at a mall. You're going to see them buying some drinks at Starbucks. You're going to see them going to these large parks. You're going to see them having barbecues. You're going to see them having birthday parties. You're never going to think they're abusing each other. Because they like to go out and do what everyone else does, who's healthy people. They like to, especially things like parties and stuff like that. They have to make you think it's all good. And actually, what psychopath or psychologically twisted literally means is mixing good and evil, right? They beat someone, they harm someone, they assault someone, they neglect someone, and then the next day they're like, come over here, give me a hug. Come over here, let me buy you some pretty clothes today. It's your birthday, let's go. They mix abuse, evil, with behaviors that we would say are normal or healthy. But obviously it's not, it's fake in this case, so it's not really the behavior. That manipulativeness is today what people then would call a psychopath. You get me? Or a narcissist. So I don't want you to think that they're doing good consciously and intentionally, but then at the same time they're wicked to some degree and therefore they did evil. I don't want you to think that it's some sort of accident when they do evil. And when they did something that's not, the behavior itself is not bad, I don't want you to think they actually wanted to do good. No, they don't want to do good for you. Anytime your evil parents, right, actually did normal things, right, gave you food, gave you shelter, I don't want you to think they did that out of love or care. But then when they did something bad, somehow evil entered them. I don't want you to treat them like they're not consciously plotting what to do. No, that normal behavior they did is because that's the only way to cover up that they're evil to outsiders who would then come and take you away, take you out of this household. They cannot keep you anymore to abuse. You get me? It's just to protect themselves. Two, that's what evil, a type of evil is. Mixing good behavior with bad behavior to psychologically torture the person. Because you're human, you're a rational species, regardless of your gender, obviously. This is the sexism that obviously God is trying to get rid of also. Accusing females of not being logical. So a species, okay? I'm talking about male and female, regardless of your age as well. So right at childhood, you're already very, logical species. That's just your nature. You're logical, okay? So evil is also twisting logic like this. They do something like giving you a birthday party. I mean, in God's eyes, in Islam, we don't celebrate birthdays, just so you know it's sinful. Because, in terms of where it comes from, right, you have to always look at where things come from. Like every holiday today, people just celebrate it, but they don't study where it comes from. It comes from a demonic, sinful system. So that, of course, that's why then it's sinful. But also, you're not supposed to celebrate it because, exactly, there's nothing to celebrate. Every day that you wake up, you're getting closer to death. Yes or no? You're getting further away from your birth, right? The day you were born. You're getting closer to your death. There's nothing to celebrate. So it's not logical for us. That's why we don't celebrate it. But the things they do, right? The candles, the cake, that's actually demonic, So that's actually, I want you to study that and you'll see that it's actually evil behind it. And that's why we don't do that, okay? So you can just thank God for another day that you woke up, but you don't have to celebrate it. Okay, so this quality, right, of making the kid feel technically, right, fakely happy. They gave them a present, but then the next day they beat them up. That is evil. You get me? Because evil is also, what's the word? Evil is also illogic, right? The opposite of logic is also trying to hurt the mind or the psychological part of you. You get me? It's also trying to steal your energy, how you feel, your heart. That's sort of, why? What's going on? Like that. When you react like that, that gives energy to demonic spirits, not just evil humans. Because you know how humans are like, oh, psychopaths enjoy that. It's not a psychopath. There's no such thing as a psychopath. Whatever you think that character is that feeds off of you is actually the demon, right? The human enjoys that, right? Because they're evil. But when we say feed off, right, how can a human feed off of something? They're a physical being, right? They just have a physical body. Feed off would really fit the spiritual being, correct? A demon, because it doesn't have a body. So it needs energy all the time. You get what I mean? So they're the ones feeding off of you when you're, as a child, constantly using logic. Why are you doing this? What's wrong? No, I didn't. They accuse you of stealing. No, I didn't steal. I didn't. The kid just won't just be like, whatever. Just calm down. You know what? The kid doesn't just like an adult. They don't just calm down. They don't just look. They don't just observe. They don't just see these humans are wicked. and simply say, no, I didn't do it, and then stop talking. Because that's what I would have done if I was a kid. Anytime I was being harassed or accused, I didn't say anything. I didn't argue. I didn't give off my energy. So some kids are, right, more analytical, and some are more sensitive. So the sensitive ones obviously are the ones who are targeted the most, because they're going to give more energy, even though they know they're being accused, even though they know this human is doing that intention, they're still going to keep defending and talking and talk. Okay, that constant talking is energy. They're stealing the energy of the child. So that's why demons also would want to target babies and children, because there's more energy to steal. You get me? While an adult might be like, get the hell off my face. They're going to call the cop on you if you try to, you get me? They're going to preserve their energy because they've learned that over time. That's what happens in this world. There are evil humans who want to steal our energy, who want to argue with us, who want to bother us. We've learned to protect ourselves over time, but the kid didn't, correct? Some kids, right, like the more analytical ones, get that quickly, I know, but just all kids have to still go through that learning slowly. They go after them. So when you see that things are spiritual, you're going to understand evil is not always about, just, right, harm the human. Boom, this evil demon and human just work to just harm. No, they have many things they want as they harm you. They have many desires. It's not just one, okay? The first one is to just make you feel dominated. Like they have this sort of quality of just wanting you to feel miserable, but not the typical, right? They want you to feel miserable, not that sort of easy way of making someone feel miserable. It doesn't require much abuse. No. When I say they want you to feel dominated or miserable, I mean psychologically. So it's really how you feel they desire. Right? Okay. In order, therefore, to make you feel higher and higher and higher and higher levels of that feeling of just, right, like that kid example. Why I didn't do anything? They're just breaking down, right? They want you, the adult. Exactly, you're mature now, right? You're probably not going to react like that to typical daily life situations. That's what they want, though, get it? They want to keep you there all the time. That sort of weak way a kid usually is. 10 times weaker than that, because that obviously is normal. 10 times weaker than that. Therefore, then it's not normal. You get me? They want to break you down. They don't know how to do it. They're thinking, what can I do? What can I do to this creation, this human, to make them go to that level of that sort of submissiveness to me? Demons like submissiveness because they're arrogant. They're weaker than us, We're actually better than them. But that's their arrogance. They don't want to admit it. So they therefore want to act better than us. And they went a step further and act like they can disobey God and even mock him. And they went too far. So for that reason, they want to act like God. You get me? And they want that sort of submissiveness from all creations of God. So evil was created. They observed it and they're like, let's use evil to get that from God's creation. That submissiveness, that sort of weakness. Which is why rape and molestation is so high, because obviously that's the highest level of weakness they can ever push a human into who doesn't fight or do something about that situation. That's the weakest, because they violated you. They treated you worse than an object, correct? Okay, so your private parts, your body is your honor. It's a violation. They killed you basically. Worse than murder, because they killed your honor. You have honor. You're not an object. You're a human. You're a creation. Therefore, you have honor. Your honor is taken away. They killed it. They basically killed your soul and your body and your honor. Everything. You cannot heal these people, just so you know. That's disgusting. Don't mock them as if this is something normal to get out of, like you got into a car accident. Okay, so that's why perversion is the first criminal offense everywhere you go, right? The courts are always dealing with predators rather than humans doing other crimes, because that energy, that reaction, that brokenness, that psychological control over you, perversion being done to you would give them that more than other crimes being done to you. Okay, so what's similar to perversion? Anything else that would treat you like an object, right? Anything else that would try to act dominant over you, right? Anything else that would act like they're God or something and you need to obey them like their authority. Boom. Parents, family are the first weapon. They come to you that moment and act like God. My greatest frustration when God would show me these demonic spirits possessing this evil family, right? Again, they're always possessed. I just mean they'd actively use them against us, right? I'm sorry, against me. And again, God's making them do it. Evil humans cannot bother me. Demons cannot bother me. God is making them do it. So that always gave me a lot of psychological stress. And that obviously would give demons some energy. Someone that normally cannot bother me, cannot insult me, someone that could never touch me, God makes them, right, all of a sudden harass me, when I go to jail or whatever. These cops have to be like, oh, come on, you have to, because God made demons accuse me of being mentally ill. So they put me in the mental illness location, I mean, I feel like this is not a good example. Just these behaviors that are dominant, right? Where humans, God is making them force you to do something against your will. In those moments where I'm thinking, but God, I could easily kill this person. This person in real life, without this divine situation you created, they cannot do this to me. Do you get me? Do you know how much, therefore, rage and reacting I'm doing in front of God as I talk to him? Right? Do you know how much stress and energy is coming out of my heart? I can't see it, right? I only see my physical body, but we're also spiritual beings. Energy comes out of us. We just can't see it. So that's something these demons want from me. God is putting me in a situation I normally cannot be put in, which is humans having the power to harass me any way, shape, or form. They cannot do that. It's only when God wants them to do something that event occurs. So that causes me a lot of psychological stress or distress or emotional distress. And that is what they want. They want to steal my energy. Even though demons don't know anything, God is making them do it. Still, they can still feed off the energy. And in those moments, God is showing me that's what they do to my creation. When they do evil to you as well, they're trying to feed off your energy. I'm not saying then you're not supposed to feel distress, right? No, I'm talking about what they want. You get me? They enjoy that. They enjoy that reaction from the creation of God. There's obviously a more disciplined way of, right, reacting to pain, reacting to suffering. Someone hits you, right? You're in jail. You obviously don't want to hit them back because they're going to give you a more criminal offense like that. You can obviously have a stoic facial reaction. Do you agree? You don't have to you don't have to break down. Do you get what I'm saying? That's a choice. You don't have to break down. You can break down in front of God, because I'm not saying you can't feel any emotion. No, do that with God. You get me? Do that when you're talking to him. That's different. You're with him that moment. But don't do that in front of the abuser. Don't do that in front of the enemy. Do you see what I mean? When they're right there that moment watching you, don't do that. That's what they're feeding off of. Children are so small. They have a lot of energy. You would agree with me. They don't get tired. I had nephews that I would babysit throughout my teenage years. I could keep up with their energy back then, I never really got tired, to be honest. Every day they'd be like, let's go outside, let's go to the playground. Even if I have school or work or anything. Because at the time I was almost into college. Every day, I always, took them outside. I didn't care. And I remember, I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. I told you it's a very stressful episode. I'm probably going to record a better one. But I'm just going to ramble, whatever comes to my mind. Because like I said originally, there's just so much evil God showed me. I basically was a witness to too much evil. So when I try to talk about a subject, it's hard for me to sometimes, unless, right, I prepared it, I know what I'm trying to do. If I'm like this, right, where I'm really stressed out today because I've been seeing a lot of this crime on the rise. I don't really think it's on the rise. I think it's just being exposed, right, which is abuse to children. So this subject, I was going to talk about it anyway, and now seeing that made me then just want to make this episode. So I'm just really angry right now. You get me? On a typical day that I'm just trying to record, then okay, I'm gonna just record step by step, specific subjects in order. So because I've seen so much evil, it's hard for me sometimes to focus on one thing. I have to give you examples here. That's a good thing, obviously, for you to have wisdom, but then I might go somewhere else. You get me? I'm sorry about that. Because unless I share my testimony where I start from childhood, you get me? I'm gonna go all over the place. And you might get a bit interested in what's all. Tell me more about that. You might be thinking like that. There's cops everywhere I go, so if you're hearing police sirens, please ignore. There's always a noise they do. Sometimes it's fake as hell. They're not even trying to find anyone, or they're not doing anything. Anyways, see, I got distracted. Anyways, I'm sorry that sometimes, right, I'm talking about a story and I go somewhere else, and you might be interested in that one. Like, it's too detailed, it's too long. I have to jump and go back to something else. Okay, so because, right, I can't tell you my whole life story, almost 30 years now, in one episode. So, right, demons want that energy. It's a spiritual thing. So unless you understand these humans are possessed, who are evil, right, who do bad things, whether any type of crime you can think of, and things that are not criminal today, sadly, because morality obviously is corrupted as always. But you as human know it's among the things that we would list among evil. I just want you to understand, no human can do evil unless they're possessed. So we're dealing with more than one demonic spirit in that body. Minimum. I'm sure one can't be there 100%. It has to be more than that. And that's why sometimes you see things like multiple personality disorder. There's multiple demons in the body coming out. And there's obviously two different genders. So sometimes that's why a homosexual, for example, who are also evil humans, who are possessed, they're just perverts, okay? That's what I mean by evil. That's why the male is able to sometimes walk like a female, and you're thinking, how could he do that? He tripped. How could he walk like that? You get me? There's something wrong with his legs, obviously. It's not firm like a male's body. He made it really weird and soft. That's because there's a demonic female in his body that's walking. It's not him, okay? So she can easily walk using his legs. I didn't say he can do it. He's a male. He can't do it. She, a female who's demonic, who's a spirit. Demonic just means evil. She, a spirit that's a female, can just easily possess his legs and walk like an actual female. It's easy. You get me? So unless you understand the spiritual, the devil will then come to you and be like, well, how can he do that unless he's really created like that? You see, they want to twist your logic. Because you're a rational species, you like to question, Because they know that, they're using their supernatural powers to twist logic, and then coming to you, and because they're invisible, then they're saying, well, whatever, right, is happening in the physical, right, in the physical presence, they're saying to them, it just must be the truth. Whatever your eyes see, therefore must be whatever is true. They're crazy as hell. There's something our eyes don't see. We don't see the demon, So no, whatever my eyes see is not really all that there is. And it's not always true. Okay, so I went through those first few typical symptoms, not symptoms, goodness, traits or signs or qualities that exist in childhood abuse, which is neglect with food, I saw hygiene, but since it's personal for me to clean myself or not, that one was easy to sort of get out of. You know, they can't really do much about that. But I saw that in the other siblings, where the older brother than me, even though he was at that time, I think I was 5, so he was probably like 6, because he's like a year older than me. Which again, keyword, they breed too much. How can you have a sibling just 1 year older than you? Aren't females carrying a child for 9 months? So if you just gave birth, how did you just get pregnant again? What just happened? So now husbands don't know how to do what they do that God taught them to make sure there's a gap. What the hell? If they want to have more kids, you know what I'm talking about. These are abusive, perverted, nasty, sexist, bastard males who like to use the female body like a machine to breed. Because they want to harm those children. They want to have a lot of kids to control. And then when they're getting older, they want to use them like some sort of farm, whatever, farm slaves, you know? They obviously use them, no matter how old those kids get, to keep making them work for them. They never are free. They're never individuals. They never go out and separate. You know, those siblings never separate. They never go live in their own apartments and homes, and they're always mixed together. They don't leave each other. It's the other sign, you know? So breeding too much, restrictive and extremely controlling, basic normal human things that a human is supposed to learn at a young age, such as a baby, a child. You're supposed to allow them to learn to feed themselves, correct? Okay, because that's the same thing as you telling an adult not to eat on their own. Just as you would say it's evil to restrict a human from eating as an adult and saying, no, we got to feed you. That's nasty. You punch whoever tried to put their hand in your mouth. That's what I'm saying. Parents are only there to just help you, like some sort of person who learned how to write, and now you weren't there in class when the teacher was teaching it, and they're just going to give you some tips. That's what a parent is. They're just helping you. They're just guiding you. They're not God. They're not an authority over you. They don't get to actually choose how you live. They don't get to choose what you should eat and what you should do and who you should be friends with and what is going on here. You are equal to them because we're all one species. It's just that we're born ahead of each other. So because of that age difference, then they want to act like then if one is very tall and big and one is tiny and short, then the small one has to be submissive. Excuse me. As long as we're the same species, we're equal to each other. Regardless of the gender, regardless of the age, regardless of the financial status, the only thing that makes us superior than each other is our morality, character. You're not going to be like, I don't believe that. No problem. Let this earth end. When everything ends, you're not going to disappear as people make you believe. God is not going to bring his judgment to this earth as the Bible was corrupted to say. We're all going to die and we're going to be resurrected and there's going to be the hereafter. God is going to destroy this earth and everything. Then humans are going to separate it into hell or paradise. What does that mean? At least if you believe in hell and paradise, what does that mean? Exactly. We are therefore superior than each other only based on character. Because some are going to paradise because of character, correct? Obviously, God forgave some and took them out of hell after some punishment time in there and put them in paradise. But either way, is it still not based on character? Is it still not, okay, they repented, at least they're better than the ones who didn't repent, correct? It's still morality. So stop acting like God is sexist when you already have evidence that he's not sexist. Paradise is not separated on that nonsense. God didn't give males some higher paradise over there. See, that's how you know the devil lied to you. It's only this world that he wants you to think. It's only this world that he tells you males get to do A, B, C, and females can't do it, therefore males are superior. But what are the things he's saying males can do that females cannot do? Instead of just getting angry, don't even get mad. It's not even something good. It's just evil. He's saying they should do evil things. No, what is he saying that males do that females cannot do that therefore he's using to then say they're better? Predatory behaviors, controlling, raping, molesting, harming, acting dominant, ordering around, using her body like some sort of machine, breeding too much. She doesn't get to choose how many kids she wants. It's not a couple thing. It's not something both of them, before they even get married, they talk about. Because if your boundaries and standards don't match, you're not supposed to get married. It's that simple. That's why God wants you to have sex in marriage and not outside, because of all the things that involve a relationship. It's not just some fun thing where you hold hands, correct? All these other things are there. Your health is going to be impacted by it. Your body is going to be impacted by it. It affects whoever, like good families you actually have and friends, right? What if you hanging around with an evil human? Well, they're going to obviously negatively impact the good people in your life, right? They might kill some of them. Maybe the ones who notice they're evil and tell you to leave them. So it affects every part of your life. It affects your financial life, right? You obviously get to share money together. It affects your freedom. You get to spend some time with them. It affects the other last part. The other part of your health or body. You get to have kids. So it doesn't make sense if you don't think about all these important things that a romantic relationship requires. Also the intellect, right? That's why it's perversion to be 5 years or more or less than someone. Not less, goodness, sorry. If someone is 5 years or older than you, or 5 years or younger than you, goodness, my words got ruined. I'm sorry. If there's more than 5 years, if there's 5 years or more age difference, that's perversion. God taught me that 5 is the limit by always sending me males who are 5 years younger than me and 5 years older than me. And I was thinking, what is this pattern? They were demonic spirits possessing those males constantly. They're not doing anything. It's just fake. They can't see me that way. It's just that they're being used to teach me something. And okay, I got the point. Because you agree, if God actually existed, he would give you a number, correct, for male and female relationship who are not related, like not related by blood and stuff like that. Exactly. There has to be a number. Only perverts say there's no such thing. Exactly. Because there's no boundaries in evil, correct? Evil means no boundaries. Because boundaries means we're trying to protect something. Where does that come from? Good or morality. Anytime you hear things like there's no limit or there's just no boundaries, or people who have no boundaries, their morality is corrupted. So because all these things are required in a romantic relationship, of course God wants you to therefore take it as a serious relationship, and he wants you to get married after all these areas match. You like each other, everything perfect, even the way you look physically. You shouldn't be with someone way too ugly and way too prettier than you. That's weird. But again, that's your choice. But you get what I'm saying. That's not how God designed things. People who are, close in appearance should also be marrying each other. So, or being sexual, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so what did the devil teach you? Just go in and be sexual. He took out all these important factors that are important in a relationship because he doesn't want you to see it as a relationship. He wants to make it like some sort of friendship where you just have sex the same way you hold hands. You have a handshake and say, have a nice day. What? All these important things happen. Children come out, and it's not fair. You're traumatizing these kids. You're not ready. So because kids come out, it is a very important relationship. You have to do it in a certain way. Therefore, God doesn't believe you should just run around. Therefore, when you're doing it in the right way, when you're doing it without sin, you're going to be way ahead of the sort of process. You're going to defeat all the ways demons come after other human beings. You're going to raise your kids very well if you're a moral person. Because you actually had them when you wanted to. Because obviously, you're human. If you weren't ready, you're going to be unhappy. You don't want that type of burden on that innocent child. Again, it doesn't mean you're going to hurt them or anything. That's only evil humans what they do. Good people are just good people. I'm saying it can come out in certain ways, correct? Maybe they can feel it. Some kids are really sensitive. They're very empathetic. I'm highly empathetic. I can feel other people's emotions. Some people can feel that you carrying some stuff, okay? So just because they don't understand what it is, right? You don't ever hurt them. You don't ever say anything to them. Doesn't mean, right, it's not going to affect them is what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm just saying, right, you just need to do your part. Obviously, God sometimes gives people children when they don't want to. God is the one who says, no, I'll give you one. Okay, come on. I'm not saying it's required for you to always be prepared. I'm just saying when you have good reasons to always prepare, such as you have to really make sure that you create a safe space for these human beings, then you're coming from that moral place. You're just trying to make sure they lead a healthy life. And that you're not hurting yourself, because you have to also love yourself. All this nonsense about loving kids more than yourself, that's evil, get it? Because it's sacrifice. It goes back to sacrifice. It goes back to obey your parents. There's no such thing as obey a human being. You don't obey anyone but God Almighty. So Islam is corrupted to say, obey your parents, your messenger. The messenger's dead. How do you obey someone who died? You don't even know what he tell you. 2, whatever he tell you is what God would tell you, because he was just a messenger. He was just telling you what your Lord told you. 3, he's equal to you. He's a creation. He can't tell you to do anything outside of what God tells you. So even if you're obeying him, what are you obeying? What he's telling you, God told him to tell you, correct? Okay, so who do you need to obey? God. Leave this poor man alone. You don't need to obey him, and you don't need to obey your parents, because they're not superior than you. They're just human like you and me. You just need to treat everyone with morality, which means just. You just treat your parents with just. They're evil. Obviously, go expose them and get them punished for their evil. Don't mix with them. That's just. Because if you say I'm going to love them, that's unjust, because you're not supposed to love and help and be around evil. The hell's your problem? You're excusing and justifying what they did then. They're good to you, you're good to them. The evil to you, you're not evil to them. You're just with them. You get away from them. You don't become like them. You get them punished. You tell the third parties who need to deal with them. You don't personally put yourself in a position to deal with them yourself. You don't try to punish them yourself. You get me? That just creates chaos, obviously, in a world that's trying to use legal systems to punish human beings. They don't want us to mix with it. Okay, then don't mix with it. Just makes life easy. Forget it. It just means you don't ever do evil to them. Not obey them. What are you obeying? This is how you know this is not true. This is not what God told you. Because what are you obeying? If you're human, I'm human. If I'm raising you, all I'd ever do is tell you normal things, right? I made food for you. You're just a kid. You're just going to eat it. Okay, if you don't like it, if I'm actually a normal, healthy human, I'd give you what you like. I'd learn how to cook what you like. Because I'm loving. I'm not going to force food on you that you don't like. That's what evil humans do. Right? If you're not good at something, you obviously learn what you can. You find a way to give the kids the food that they need. Also, it has to be food that's for them, right? That helps them grow. Because some kids may not have grown enough because the parent just cooked whatever they knew, and not food that, right, a doctor would maybe recommend or a nutritionist would recommend based on things like growing the bones, making the kid taller, having healthy hair, things like that. They're the most intelligent human beings, right, who obviously are very moral. That's what the intelligent means. I don't mean smart. I mean like intelligent as in very moral. They are the ones who would think of all these things. Because they would have loved if someone did that for them when they were kids, correct? Not miss out on the physical attributes their body could have had if they ate better, lived better. Okay, then you're going to do that for your kids. It's basically how we raise our kids. It's how we would have wanted to be raised. Do you see what I'm saying? So evil humans are evil. They don't have the ability to love themselves or honor themselves. Therefore, they cannot honor others. So they harm others because they harm themselves. That's what they mean by misery loves company. It means they're miserable, so they only know how to make you miserable. Not know as in like they're ignorant. No, that's what they want. That's the only thing they're going to do for you. Because they cannot handle treating you better than they were treated. They cannot handle, if they went through abuse, treating you normally and not abuse, because they're thinking you don't deserve it. See, it's envy, right? Evil, I told you on my podcast, is created from envy. Then it becomes hatred. So they hate you so much as a parent, right? You're their child, because they're envious of you, that if they ever treated you or raised you the moral way, that now you get to be happy, but they did not get raised like that. Do you see how they don't love you then? They're evil as hell. They're envious that you could actually have something called normal, because they didn't have normal. So they're thinking if they suffered, you should suffer. And it's not just you, obviously. It's not personal. That's how they see everyone else God created. But they can't control other people, right? You're in their home now. You're just 2, 3, 4, 5. They can technically control your life for a while. They take advantage of it. So don't actually think because they abused and they're abusing others as if somehow, right? Abuse makes you abuse others. What the hell? Good people have been abused too. What are you talking about? I've been abused. Evil humans, through the abuse, just started to become evil too. That's what you should say. They became evil too. Don't say abuse made them abusers, as if abuse is somehow the problem. No, they became evil. They could have been treated with great moral conduct and they could have still become evil. Do you agree? Do you agree there's people in this world who had moral parents, wonderful, great, healthy human beings who raised them, but they became evil? Do you agree? Okay, so it doesn't matter if you were abused or not. Evil is just evil. It enters the heart simply if you want it to enter your heart. If it entered, okay, it's just that humans have observed those who have become evil, right? They just keep talking about the ones who also had evil done to them as kids too. Wait a minute, what about the ones who became evil, but then they were raised wonderfully? You get me? It's like they're just ignoring, and that creates problems. That creates this evil that is also right now happening abundantly, that demons are spreading, which is trying to create sympathy for these human beings. Oh, she was abused too. She should get some help in prison. Maybe she should get some therapy. What are you talking? Humans should only be given information or knowledge or wisdom to push them to repent before their time is up. To push them to morality. It shouldn't be about love and help and sympathy and all that. Don't come there with me. That's nonsense. They need to be punished severely if they've abused anyone. So I told you I would be all over the place in this episode. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I wanted to stay on point, but that evil family, right? That older brother, even though he was a year older than me, when he was younger, right, I would always see this other sign of abuse, right? There's signs you can see that would tell you those kids are being abused. He would always pee on himself or pee on the bed. He would not get up to go to the bathroom. And I remember that evil witch mother would always complain about that. See, that's another sign of abuse. You might say, well, if she complains in an evil way, that's abuse. But if not, she's just maybe saying he shouldn't. I'm sorry, that's a negative thing, and she should help him. Then it's not a sign of abuse. You don't get it. She's complaining because she's putting the blame on the victim. Do you get what I mean? She caused that situation for that child. She abused him. The other siblings that she made to become evil, she taught them to become evil. Again, at the end of the day, they're free will to be evil too. But she abused every one of her children. You know? She uses witchcraft as well. In that abuse, her children learn this fear of not going to the bathroom. I still have to kind of study what their reasons are, because I don't understand what's going on here. But some kids might, it could be two things. One could be that, right, obviously they're kids. They're still going through potty training, right, as they call it. They're still learning how to release their own urine and feces in the bathroom and not, right, in their diapers, because they don't have diapers anymore. You're growing up. So some kids still, right, take time. Okay, so a normal human, a moral person, obviously is very loving. They don't see that as something to dominate or control or anything, because they don't think they own you. They don't think they have rights or power over you. It's like them having that same problem. It's like them going to the bathroom one day and holding in their pee because they had a long meeting at a job. It's like that. The way they treat themselves as human and compassion, they're going to treat you like that if they're a normal person. Okay, and the evil one, it's not that they're just evil, right? That they just treat you like that. No, it's because they caused it. They abused you as a child. You're taking too long to develop. You're not learning to do things on your own because they like to take away the child's right to do things on their own. Such as babies and children. I would always see that evil mother, her daughters, including the sister that I was babysitting her kids for at one time, they don't stop feeding these kids. They keep putting and you can tell it's perverted the way they put their hands in the kid's mouth. It's like this is like they're shoving some food or something down a machine or something. It's not like the way you feed a human. So what I'm trying to say is, since females usually are the ones who are raising the child, right? They're doing those sort of care. The abuse that they went through, they used it to become evil, or maybe they had a great life and they became evil. Doesn't matter whether they were abused or not, because otherwise we're making it seem like that somehow matters, or that's the cause, or you're making it seem like they're somehow victims or something, or that justifies it. Don't worry about that. I'm just saying it matters that they were abused only in this one situation and not the situation that other humans are talking about. Okay? For me, I only tell you some of them were abused to only remind you of why this matters when I talk about spiritual wisdom. They like to repeat the abuse to others. Do you get what I mean? So instead of abusing you a different way, because evil is diverse, they'd rather do the same thing to you that was done to them. So that's then when it really matters to bring up the fact that they were abused. Because you get to then be like, right, why did they specifically do this to me and not that? Why did they sabotage this part of my life, but why didn't they? You get me? When you're sort of curious as to why they picked ABC abuse for you, you're human, you like to think, you like to reason. It doesn't mean you enjoy learning about an abusive person. It doesn't mean you're interested in them or you're creepy or anything. No, it's because you're trying to understand why a human did that. Like, what was their thinking pattern? Not because you want to, right, know how evil humans think so you could somehow be interested in evil or become like it. No, it's because we're a rational species. We like to understand. We're limited in knowledge, right? Only God knows everything. So some humans are creepy as hell, and they actually are obsessed with abusers, and that as a highly harmful, filthy, perverted human now. They're creepy as hell. I'm talking about humans who are just thinking, why did they get so obsessed with this part of my life? It's because that's what was taken from them. So I don't want you to then hear that nonsense you usually will see on the internet. Oh, poor them. They had a bad childhood. Their moms didn't love them, so these daughters grew up to become very bad mothers too. It's like they make it seem like somehow that makes it okay. You get me? If a human never suffered abuse as a child and they became evil to children who they had as children, they want to make it seem like that's a horrible person. Oh, but if they were abused the same way that they abused you when you're a child, then they want to make it seem like you should somehow, right? Not see them like they did anything wrong in the sense of why they became this way, but just that they did something wrong in the sense that what they did is not okay. Like, what the hell? This twisting logic is just creepy. It doesn't matter if they were abused or not. It only helps you to understand just how evil they are. That abuse didn't teach them, right, to then honor the human. That they didn't learn through being abused themselves. That they obviously would never want to do this to someone else. Do you get what I'm saying? They're so flawed. You should be thinking they're the worst of the evil human beings. Because how? How could you have not learned from the evil that was done to you? How could you have not developed empathy? You should see them so flawed. You get me? So anyways, this isn't to say, right, those who were abused, who became evil, and those who were not abused, that those who were abused, who became evil, are worse. No, evil is the same. If a human did rape and the other one did rape, they're equal. Both give them the same punishment. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, you get me? That should show you just how evil they are. That they observed evil being done to them, and they thought to themselves, you don't deserve to live a life different than that. You deserve to suffer the same thing. And they intentionally got married, even though those humans, right, are obviously very evil. That means they're perverted, they're sexist. They don't love the opposite gender in a healthy way that's unrelated to them, that they would be romantic with. They don't have the ability to love. So why are they being sexual? Why are they, again, don't bring that nonsense to me that sex feels good and people just do it. Shut up. Evil humans are evil. They cannot have any desire for sex because sex is about love, is about intimacy. The devil makes them do it, therefore, since they cannot do it because they cannot actually care for another human being who's an opposite gender to them, that's not related to them. They cannot see them with that sort of, because attraction is still love. It's just a lower level of love. You get me? You're still feeling good towards the human, not bad, correct? They can't feel that good towards them. What the hell is wrong with your head? They're evil, get it? They would just want to harm others. Okay, so the demon is therefore making them do it, making them go and be sexual and get married. For those who, in their religions, like Muslims, they're scared to maybe go do that. You get me? So then the demon could then use them to bring a human into the world, and now this human gets to go through the same evil this one went through. You get me? Or worse. I know you're thinking, really? Yes, it really is like that. Demons really are the ones making evil humans do what they do. You really think humans just do things because they're just human, and demons only come to teach them the bad part of things? No. If human beings grew up to be evil, they should not be having sex and getting married and wanting the opposite. That's just not normal. They're evil. They're hateful. They hate everyone. They're not normal anymore like you and I. So therefore, what is going on? Is their demon saying, go get married? They put things into their head. They make them do it. So then they can now use that as a badge to act like a good person. You get me? That's why females are more obsessed with having family and getting married and children, who are very narcissistic and very creepy and very psychopathic, because they're trying to cover that up by pretending to be a character that you would say has to be requiring qualities of empathy, right, and affection, which is what a mother would have to learn to do. You get me? A normal mother, a healthy one. I just want you to understand, since these humans became evil before they had you as a kid, if you were abused by them, they didn't become evil after you were born. I want you to understand then why they had you, right? Why do they want kids if they're so evil? Why don't they go over there and gamble all day? It's because the devil wants to use them to bring more humans into the world so he can make more evil happen, more victims. And the devil wants a lot of kids to be born. He wants a lot of humans to come to this earth through evil ways, through unhealthy ways, because then it's fun. He has more vessels. Now he has thousands of them who are predators. He has thousands of them who are, right, doing trafficking for him. He has thousands of them who are over there doing drugs for him. He has so many vessels, get it? Like an army. So he wants the human beings to always be outside of marriage and have too much children and have sex all the time. And he wants evil humans who have no business with sex and kids. He wants them to have children so he can breed and bring hundreds of people. Have you noticed? You can't say what I'm saying that is not true. Just observe human beings who have too many kids. Those human beings are very narcissistic, psychopathic, and evil. They restrictive and controlling, domineering over the children. And they all grow up to be very creepy, and they all stuck together. No one ever just, right? Like healthy people, they don't separate when they get older. Everyone still comes together all the time, meets each other all the time. There's no freedom. And they're sort of like submissive to those parents. They treat them like some god. Like it's like a cult, okay? It's like a cult, like how Mormons are usually known to do behind the scene. They have a lot of weird cults. That religion is weird. So like that, those really creepy, weird, long member families, just creepy. They do weird stuff. They all control each other. They all take so many pictures together smiling, but they're raping and killing each other like that. As long as you observe humans who have too many kids, humans who are, right, like this, who seem sort of lowly or dumb or sort of not, right, they're not really intelligent and healthy, and they're not developed. It's like they're uncivilized, basically. They're like lowly or stupid, like that. So they're like animals. They're just breeding. That's all they do. They don't have any passions or dreams or goals or anything they want to do with this life. They don't bring anything. They're just weird. All they do is eat and have kids. Eat and have kids. Usually fat as hell. But some of them are really thin too. I want you to just observe, Okay, just observe humans who are like that, who seem sort of weird and dysfunctional. Like they seem too attached to each other. Those kids seem way too attached to those adults or parents. They're not individuals, you get me? Because they're equal to each other. It's a species, they're equal to each other. They're not supposed to be attached to each other. A child is not supposed to see a parent like this cool big person, like you want to be like. No, they're flawed and weak like you. They were just a baby like you. There's nothing special about them for you to look up to them like that. That's God you want to look up to. If you want to look up to a creation, look up to angels. They're awesome. They have power. They're great. They're moral. Okay, but you can't see them. But a human should never look at another human like you look up to them like this sort of big thing. That's what abuse is teaching you. That's what evil, the demons who then usually possess these types of kids because they've become evil in their heart, they teach the kid. And that's how they become homosexuals at one point, because of that creepy attachment to them. That, big brother, that big sister, whatever. And then strangers who are acting like that big brother, big sister, teach them to be homosexual with them. Do you see what's going on? So this weird attachment, this weird creepiness, you know there's some submissiveness they have towards these types of human beings. There's submissiveness going on. I just want you to observe. When you see human beings like that, I want you to see that they're highly demonic. They're possessed. Other humans are possessed too, who may not necessarily be evil like that. They're just maybe lower level toxicity. But I want you to understand that there's so many of them for that reason. They breed too much for a reason. They're literally a result of demonic influence. Because the demons want to use that number, right? That male-female couple plus 8 kids. They want to use that huge number, 10, right? As their army. Demons are watching you and thinking, you're going to be one of their agents. You're going to be an army for them. So they tell them to go and breed like animals so they can use them like an army, like the other demons that work for Satan. He's trying to make these humans work for him too. And you're like, well, how do they work for him? The same way I tell you people, their demons are persecuting me every day by physically walking around, stalking me, coming to my places, wherever I go, anywhere in this world, approaching me, harassing me, accusing me, lying about me, sabotaging my jobs, using their cars to commit crime. All the ways they commit crime against me and harass me, that's what I mean. They're that army for the devil. They're working for him like that. He tells them what to do. They harass random people like that every day. All these human beings just walking around every day, train stations, streets, everywhere you go, ever since COVID, just punching random people, assaulting random people, shooting each other randomly. They have a little argument, they just start killing. All this weird random crime. And situations where they don't even know the person and they just, I'm not saying that matters, and they just, right, there's just random assault, random harassment, like that. That's the army, get it? These humans came from these dysfunctional families. They're just like the evil family God put me in. Humans just like them who are narcissistic, perverted, psychopathic. A lot of them were raped or molested as children, but they became evil too, okay? So they're no longer a normal human we would feel sorry for. We only continue to feel sorry for the evil that was done to them, goodness. But now they're not someone we care about. They're evil. They're spreading the same evil that predator who harmed them now is doing. They're just another army, another soldier, another agent, another puppet for the devil. So that's why having too many kids is demonic and not from God, because it's not normal. We're human beings. We have a life. We have a life. We have passions. We have dreams. Some of us, God chose us to do things for this world. You could be the next person that solves many problems in this world. We have things to do. We're not animals who just eat, sleep, and die. You get me? You are a species that is great. You came to do things. You came to build, right, this earth, right? You build buildings every day. You teach each other things every day. You're leaders for each other. There's evil in this world, so some of you have to teach others to be moral. We do things, right? We have jobs. We have things to do. The romantic is just a good thing. It's a love. It's a healthy thing. That's not all it is. It's supposed to add to your life. You're supposed to have a companion that loves you and that you love. Children are a blessing. You're supposed to be the best protectors for them, and then let them go and live and enjoy their life after you taught them right from wrong. You taught them how to protect themselves. You help them have the education and the financial they need. And you don't do the evil thing Europeans do that demons taught them, which is making their kids feel like they can't come back to their home, right? Like as if these people are some sort of caretakers at a job or a senior home. They treat their kids like they're some sort of customers. When they reach 18, get out. The kid wants to move back in, they treat them like it's some sort of guest that's making you feel inconvenienced. What the hell? You're their parent. They always have the right to live at your home. So that evil is also from the devil, okay? Muslims don't do that. Africans don't do that. Asians don't do that. It's a European thing. So some evil enters a certain group and not the others, and vice versa. So you're not supposed to do that to them either. You're always their parent. You're always their sort of that person that they can always come to if they need help, right? You know how people ask you, who's your emergency contact, or do you have friends, or you're supposed to be those people, right, among that list that they can call and they can live with if they need anything. What the hell? That's what family means, right? So, and that's all you are. You're just there to support them. You're just there to be there for them. When they're getting married and having fun, you're there congratulating them. You're not in their face controlling their life. You're not giving rules and commands because you're not God. You're just helping them, guiding them on right versus wrong when they're just babies. And then you're giving them the other tools in life, right? Not the morality anymore, but things like education and teaching them how to not be afraid of bullies and stand up for themselves. And very important quality of teaching them that no one should ever see them naked. No one should ever go into the bathroom with them. No one should ever see their private parts. No one should ever touch them, their body and their private parts. Those are two different things, because they could touch their chest or whatever, right? Like a boy. And that's not always the private parts only. And that the things also that lead to that perversion, right? Those trying to molest and rape them. They don't obviously say to them they're going to rape them. They tell them to take their pants off first. They tell them to go to the bathroom and pee first. They try to not let the kid know what they're trying to do. So you teach them that too. Anything to do with their body, not just the private parts, but anything to do with their body, such as the clothing they're wearing, their whatever to do with the body, okay? That no one can tell them what to do with it. No one can tell them what to do with their kids. Lift your shirt up. No. No one can tell them to take their shoes off. No one can tell them to pose and just stand there so they can take a photo of them. Anything to do with their body, you teach them rules to protect them from perversion, predators of perversion and other crimes. It's that simple, or other immoralities. You're just here to help them. It's like you're a classmate, but they were late, and you heard the teacher give information, and the teacher already walked out, and everyone's walking, and this person is like at the end of the line, and they're saying, where's everyone going? You're like that person, right, that got the information ahead of them because you were born earlier, and you're just saying, oh yeah, we're all going to the whole that ballroom instead. We're not staying in this classroom, because like that, you're just giving information. You're just guiding them. You're not superior than them. You're not controlling them. You're not saying things like, this is my house. This is what I hate about Europeans, the evil humans in them. They always say things like, it's my house. What the hell you mean it's my house? See, if you were telling a human being who's a child to not do something because it's evil or wrong or immoral, you tell them it's because it's wrong, correct? You give them morality. But because usually the rules parents give children is personal. It has nothing to do with morality, has nothing to do with right versus wrong, which is morality. It's just personal things this human likes in their house because they think they're God, right? They think they can create rules for children as if children are their property instead of letting the kid do what he wants to do. I told you, if it's something bad or destructive, then it falls under morality. Unless it's morality, there's nothing else to teach them. And you're like, but what about things like sleeping? They need to sleep. It is technically in the area of their morality in the sense that they need to live. They need to have their health maintained. They need to sleep like you and I at certain times. And then, okay, maybe fine. People thought they should sleep more. I don't believe. Goodness, I'm going too far. But what I'm saying is, it's still about their health. It's still something that's good for them. So you still come from a place of moral standpoint. You tell them it's because they need to rest so they can grow. You're still going to give them a reason. There's a reason why kids say to you, why? Because that's God reminding you you're not their God. They're going to question you because you're not an authority or dominant over them. The kid is saying to you, you don't have any rights to tell me what to do. I'm equal to you. I was just simply born later than you. You don't believe you're superior than adults who were born 300 years earlier than you, or I'm sorry, after you. Do you agree? There could be a 30-year-old right now and another 30-year-old 200 years later. They don't think they're superior than that 30-year-old if they meet at the same time when they're both that age. Do you agree? So why does it matter if you met them when they're baby and you're already 30? You're not you're not superior. You're not better. Therefore, you're not an authority. In order to be an authority, you have to be superior. You are just helping them on how to live this life because you already lived earlier. You're like a student that graduated. You don't believe students are superior than you, do you? You don't believe 12th graders are better than you as a 10th grader. No, they just simply know something that you haven't learned yet. They're just going to help you. And we're done. But as human beings, you're equal to each other. It's like that. That's demonic, okay? The devil is the one who's using that superior nonsense because that's what he used to disobey God. He's the one saying he's superior than humans and he can't obey God. And goodness, he's arrogant. So these humans have that quality of arrogance. They don't have to abuse you necessarily, like physically, but they abuse kids every day psychologically, emotionally, and verbally. Almost every human has to deal with parents who act like they're dominant over you or they're an authority over you, or they have a job tomorrow, so they need to sleep this time, so they're going to tell you to shut up and sleep. Who you think you are? You God now? This human has the right to sleep when they want. So it's only out of simply wanting to make sure kids grow up in a healthy way that they have certain times that they're advised to sleep, that they advised to eat certain foods that maybe an adult wouldn't eat because it fits them at that moment of development. It's just to help them. So when they ask questions or when you're giving them a routine, it should simply be based on that. Making sure they're just healthy and developing. Versus, I am going to cook this today, right? Because this is what I eat, so you're going to eat it too. You're not supposed to force your own personal tendencies on this human. They're not your property. When they say why, you need to have a reason for why you're telling them to do something. If you can't come up with a moral reason, a logical reason, all you're coming up with is my house, because I said so, because I'm your parent, that's because you're doing evil that moment. That you're doing exactly what presidents and kings have always done. They also say because they're the president, correct? When they start a war. So you're not going to use that nonsense with God. Just so you know, you evil human beings who've become parents. When you die, you're going to be punished for those moments. Even if you think it was very small, you didn't hit the kid or anything, you're still going to be punished and held accountable for any psychological, emotional, physiological, and mental, whatever you want to call it. Not just physical, okay? But all this mental and emotional and verbal abuse you did to kids, you're also going to be held accountable for that. Stop acting dominant over children. Stop telling them what to do. Stop picking foods for them that they don't like. It's like your friend. You take out to a restaurant. They buy something. Maybe you bought it for them. The food they picked, correct? But it's your money. Because they're your guest now. Dominance? No. Compassion. Friendship. You're paying for them out of love, not dominance. When they buy something and they're like, they don't like it, are you going to say you're not going to let them replace it? What? I mean, I know the restaurant can replace it for them, but are you going to act like that? No, you don't mind paying again for something else they want. Or even if it's not about replacement, are you going to still act like they don't have the right to replace it if they don't want to eat it? Are you going to tell your friend, how dare you not eat that potato? Eat it because I said so. No. So why do you think you have the right to do that to children? I remember always asking God Almighty, why do human beings who become parents act like you? Why do they act like they have the right to force a human being, which is a species, correct? It doesn't matter who's born first. They're equal to each other. Why do they act like, not actually humans, sorry, a creation of God? They're all equal to each other. So that none of them can act dominant over each other, not just humans. But in this case, I was talking about humans. Why do they always act like they can force a kid to eat what they don't want to eat? Because you're human, right? You only know how to cook the things you know how to cook. Okay, but when the kid says, I don't like this, they actually don't like it. Versus they're drinking water and they say they don't like it. Then you're just going to gently motivate them to drink it. Because some kids don't want to eat and they don't grow then. We're not talking about something like that where it's not bad for them. They don't hate it. They don't dislike it. But they're just sort of, right, being lazy to eat it or drink it because of that sort of quality that kids may not care about their health as much. Some of them just want to play. We're not talking about something like that where then they do like the food, but they're just distracted from the food and don't want to drink or eat it. And now you're just motivating them. Come on, you're going to grow. We're not talking about that. Where they just want to go outside all day and they don't want to eat. No, we're talking about a situation where the food, the kid doesn't actually like it. You don't have the right to force that on them. Same way you would never argue with me and say you have the right to force that on your grown friend. And I remember always watching the evil family God put me in and watching the evil sister. The way she would constantly try to force her food on those kids. And the way she treats people who are adults. So much respect. And I'm thinking, what? So you think because he's your kid, you're dominant over him? You can take away his humanity, his rights, what he's going to eat. But you don't want to treat me like that or other people. Where you treat us with respect. If I say to her, I don't want to eat something that she offered me because I visited her as a guest, isn't she going to be extremely compensating, right? Okay, what do you want? Well, I can buy you this. Do you want to go to the store? Oh my God, that this student... That's how they treat people, these evil human beings. So these are qualities of evil and they're sin. No one's going to get away with it. Even if society taught you, oh, they're just flawed, they're just parents, they make mistakes. These are not mistakes. Anything to do with how you treat someone is never a mistake. It's about morality. So you're always going to get punished for it. Do you understand? There's accountability. Again, if there's certain ways that maybe the human repented and compensated those people and maybe the things got forgiven by God. Oh, I'm not talking about that. But you get the point, right? If not resolved, then you're going to get punished for it. So it's insanity. It goes back to acting controlling and dominant because they're possessed and their demons are acting controlling and dominant over you. And you might think again, right, that demons are evil. They just like the behavior of acting dominant over you. No, when demons act controlling or dominant, they're not actually trying to act controlling and dominant for the sake of controlling and dominant only. For them, since they're different species, their reasons for abusing the humans is going to be a bit different than a human would, correct? Because they have their own problems, right? Okay, so when they do it, they're actually trying to think of your future. That demon is thinking of you. You're a kid now. They're thinking of you in the future as an adult. They want to cause you certain diseases. They want to cause you certain addictions, right? They want to cause you certain they want to cause you certain psychological and also financial and lifestyle and academic problems. So in their mind, they already have a plan for every child who's born, what type of problems they want them to have as they age. So they're going to start now to deny you and neglect you in the areas that then would allow them to one day create that disease for you, that financial difficulty for you, that sort of right social problem for you. You get me? They obviously study disease. They study the type of situations that would make a human feel isolated, right? Some kids are not good with social environments like that. That's not their nature. Humans are social beings. It's just that something caused them that way. Do you agree? Some sort of neglect or abuse or whatever. So they're going to study that. They're going to study, right, what God created that would cause a human to sort of be not confident. Okay, they're going to constantly go after your self-esteem. They're going to constantly speak dominant over you, domineering over you, shut up and be quiet and sit down, and they're always raising their voice, and that's to take away your self-esteem. Do you see what I mean? If you knew the demons were your enemy, and that evil mother, that evil father, that evil sibling, that evil co-worker, that evil police is actually a demon, you're going to understand because they want something to happen to you now and also in the future. They're going to use this evil human a certain way. And it's not just because they're evil and they also just like to inflict pain. It's because they have problems they want you to have down the line, and this has to happen now in their mind. And also, since their main goal is to make humans evil, they want this evil they're doing to you using these humans to also make you evil, correct? Okay, so they're gonna also do things in a way that they repeat it, right? Humans in the future, after that childhood, would also start to act similar to the way those parents abused you. So then they can constantly use that to then do that mental thing they do to a lot of human beings who suffer from suicidal thoughts, right? It usually comes from a lot of flashbacks of abuse or a lot of flashbacks of situations that are unresolved, even if it was not abuse, right? You just lost your job. No one abused you, but just situations where you struggled or suffered a lot, right? It comes back over and over again as intrusive thoughts, emotions, flashbacks, nightmares. Okay, that's it. They abused you so much, these demons, right? They use bad humans every day to bother you. They use situations that don't require humans to just make you suffer and struggle and lose things. They use witchcraft, right? They delayed you from success and happiness and understanding God and morality. Okay, now you're going to have the mental baggage that makes a lot of people today say they have mental health problems. So then now they can accomplish that future goal they had for you, suicide. If suicide is not possible, they're going to push you to do, evil then, right? Maybe make you go to human beings who are similar to the abusers and do homosexual things with them and filth like that with them. They make you attached to them in that evil, filthy, perverted way. Instead of hating them and moving away from them, they teach you to always self-harm and not punish the abuser, so that then you never ever want to expose them. They make it seem like it's bad for you that they get punished. They twist you psychologically, all starting in that childhood. Okay, so one thing that I always saw that family do and that sister do to her kids, and I would always fight with her. And during the time that I was, babysitting her kids, I would cook all the time. Can you believe that? She has a husband, right? She's a mother. Women are not supposed to cook. It's not their job or anything. It's only out of love that humans help each other, work together as a husband and wife. Well, I'm just saying, right? It doesn't matter if the husband cooks or the wife cooks. But can you believe she and her husband would never cook for their kids? They would never take care of them. It was just a one-time thing, and it was such small portions, and the food doesn't really fit kids. And I would constantly fight with her. Like, why is there no food for these kids? When I come from college, or I have classes, I have things, I think I'm just going to watch over kids who already have everything in the fridge and everything. Okay, because their demons were persecuting me to sabotage my education, my self-esteem, my health, my life, right? Trying to make me do the duties of parents when I'm just, I'm not, right? I'm literally almost 20. I'm still a teenager. They were trying to sabotage my happiness, my youth. So then when they leave the house, they lie to you. They make you think they prepared everything, and then they leave. And then when I come home and I look at the fridge, I look at the house, there's no food for the kids. And now I have to cook, right? Is that a problem for me? No, I'm talking about the idea. Now I don't get to finish my classes, the homeworks for them, the assignments for them. That's it. My grades were dropping because they were making me into a mother. So if it was something maybe they asked you, right? If they actually asked you, then okay. Cooking is actually one of my gifts. Almost anything the demon used to torture me with, I'm gifted with it. They sabotage my education. Well, I'm highly intelligent. I don't need a college or high school degree to show how intelligent I am. They harassed me with food. They neglected me all throughout my childhood by not giving me enough food. I didn't really grow the way you would want me to. I was really tall when I was a kid. I always get mad at God for that. I was always skinny, I was neglected, okay, with nutrition. So I learned to cook from a place of inspiration, not just right because I'm just good at it, because God can give you that blessing whether you're in neglect or not. I'm just saying it, right, makes you more motivated. Do you agree to cook food that you would say is very healthy, like ones that would require things like chicken or meat or things that really the heart and the body needs to grow? So I learned to cook, these foods from different cultures. I don't just focus on my ethnicity, Somali, and it's kind of heavy food. It's not even fit for children, to be honest. They don't really have things that you would say kids should eat. It's usually good for adults. So I would really look into American food when I was trying to see what to cook for my nephews, you know? Literally, I'm on YouTube all day every time I came home to their home to babysit for them. And I would already be thinking about what I should cook for them because I know they're not going to do it. So, and that's what I'm saying. God didn't really allow me because I was heavily attacked in my own life. They tried to accuse me of crime and try to put me in jail. Just random crime, okay? I don't mean like something that they tried to make me do or something. No, just accusation. Just anytime I would tell them to stop trying to come to my apartment that I was living in with the brother 1 year older than me, which was 2016, when I was trying to actually leave the state and go to university, it got sabotaged, okay? Again, God doesn't care, He has different plans for me. He could care less about me having a college or university degree. He wants me to start businesses and do other things with my life. So I don't need to go into a career. You know what I mean? That would be like academic, like where you need a degree. I don't need that, So all over the place. What I'm trying to say is, in order to ruin my education, my physiological, my emotional, health, my self-esteem, my ability to be at college more, and because I was in organizations and clubs and just the ability, not clubs, sorry, just organizations, my ability to just enjoy my college time. That's what an evil human is. They don't want you to enjoy your life because it's the demon that doesn't want you to enjoy your life. And that human, right? Whether they enjoy their life or not, that's just what evil is. They're envious of you. They don't want you to have it. They don't need to know you, okay? It's just what evil is. They just don't like others' happiness. In order to ruin my happiness, in order to ruin my childhood, my teenage years, prevent me from getting married, because anytime they would even think I'm interested in a guy or a guy is interested in me, I could feel those demons starting to terrorize that guy, starting to terrorize that environment. If it was a job, if it was a school, whatever, it's like that. So God made demons harass me in every area that demons control human beings and bring destruction. You get me? Every area, which is your romantic life, your academic life, your family life, your childhood, your teenage years, your adult years, your workplace. I had to go harassed. I have to get harassed everywhere I went, and every phase or every area of my life, so I could understand that all the different ways human beings are harassed. Because one human is not going to experience all this, obviously, but for me, I had to experience it so I can understand all those different types of human beings. So that's another sign of abuse, to children. And I'm sure you suffered if you've ever been abused as a child. They don't give you enough food. They restrict the food. They give you bad food. If you ever try to learn how to cook, maybe they'll actually attack you and be like, you burned this, you did this, they'll accuse you of things. I'm sure you're a very mature, wonderful human if you even thought of cooking for yourself. You're those kids that obviously are being targeted because you're that special type of person, right? You're very mature and healthy and wonderful, well-mannered human, and that's why they're targeting you in their family, because they're the opposite of you. And you're not weak, obviously. You're trying to take care of yourself. If you see a problem, you're trying to fix it. There you go. That you're a very strong human. Okay, so some humans are stupid and just they don't do nothing. I'm not saying kids are stupid. I'm talking about human. Some humans just don't fix their problems. Well, some humans try to fix their problem. Okay, so that's strength, right? The demon sees in you. They're gonna try to then break you down. They will use a tactic of accusation. That family. One time they said that this old male stranger, right? It was actually in Kenya. They said that you spit on him. They accused me of spitting on a random stranger when I was a kid. Why would a kid spit on an adult? Again, maybe kids in this country, a lot of them have become crazy now. I'm talking about the idea, right? You need to question something like that, right? Since the kid is the small one, you have to question things that don't make sense. It could be true or it may not be true, correct? Okay, but for me, obviously that's not true. Those were demons who just made up random accusations against me, because that's what happens in these narcissistic families, which is just a possessed human, but the most evil one, you know? They're the ones who do rape and molestation too, you get me? It's just, think of evil as levels, you know? Like someone's just negative, then someone's toxic, then we would say they're evil, you know? And then that evil, some of them are at the predator level where they actually try to harm others, their bodies. So yeah, neglect with food. They would never buy you gifts. Like they would never buy me clothes, you know? They would never ever want me to have clothing. That sister would always try to give me her clothes. You know, that's the other thing. They're creepy. They're perverted. They want you to wear their stuff. You know, they're just nasty. They're creepy as hell. I don't want you to just think it's about neglecting the clothing. No, it's creepy. It's also from a place of perversion. You get me? They want you to wear their stuff. It's nasty. A lot of them are homosexuals, you know? As a kid, they might always talk to you about mature things, you know, like they might talk to you about what a husband and a wife do together, like that family did that in front of me all the time. They would teach each other things like that. They're talking to kids when we were just children. I'm not even 5 when they're talking to me about that. I just remember it because it's a flashback. It's what the brain does. It forgets any abuse that because due to high level trauma, the brain just erases it. Then it resurfaces. You see, it feels like a dream to you when you see it in your mind. You're like, what the hell is that? Oh my God, that actually happened. You start to realize. So yeah, when it was Eid, right, like the Islamic holiday, they would never buy me clothes. Can you believe that? It's a holiday. It's a religious holiday. It's probably the only time you would have to buy something for kids if you're evil and you're trying to hide that from everyone else, right? You at least pretend, right? By just at least only now you buy clothes for them, but other times maybe you don't. Because now everyone's watching. Everyone's going out with their clothes, right, that are new. So I would remember asking them for like $20 or $40 to buy a dress. And they would literally question. I remember the older brother always asking me, why do you need it? It's the funniest thing ever. What are you going to do with the money? Question, question, question. It's a religious holiday. If any Muslim heard him say that, they'd beat him up. Because, you know what I mean? Because Muslims know the importance of this day. So, the other thing is they would always, these demonic spirits, God always made them harass me with food, you know? Like when I was homeless, and I remember one time, like it was like 5-something years ago, I would use EBT. It was like, I think maybe for a few weeks, maybe, or 2 weeks. Then I got a job after that. But that time I was homeless for a really short period of time. I remember demons always tried to prevent me from eating. They always are obsessed with food. Food, food, food. They have to neglect my eating because it affects our health, but also affects our physiological health or psychological health as well. How you feel, you know what I mean? Your mood. So since they're trying to make you feel bad, because remember the goal is to make you feel right, like they somehow own you. They want you to become submissive to evil humans, which is them, the demon. They want you to be submissive to them, this character that abused you. They want you to crumble and go back to those evil families or situations, you know? It's by taking everything away from you. So neglect always does that to children, where they take the food from them, they take the clothing from them, the gifts from them. They harass them with school. They might homeschool them and not let them enjoy the fun parts of school, you know, all that growing up and the social and the fun activities and all the cool snacks that, you know, teachers give you. And everything you could say is a blessing, a beauty, a joy, a happiness as a child. They're trying to take it from you through neglect and sabotage and delayment. And I experienced all of that, including physical abuse if you question them. if you defend yourself. They would always get into arguments with me. I'm just a kid. They're grown adults arguing with us, as well as the sibling male that was 1 year older than me. He would always target me because his demon is targeting me, always seeking arguments with me. And I always shut him down. You know, I don't argue. I shut you down. I know what the hell's wrong with you, you evil. And then there you go. He's defeated, right? That demon would go get the other demonic spirits possessing the others. And they would all gang up on me, you know? And so that's the other thing that is spiritual. This quality that as a human, you grow up from abusive families, but even in school and other places, you start to notice others are following you, harassing you, ganging up on you, bullying you too. That's because those same spirits at home are trying to create the same problems for you other places. So you become exactly what the evil family and their demons wanted. For you to kill yourself, for you to self-destruct. Or there's another option, for you to become evil like them and join them. So I want you to know, anytime evil happens to you, the devil is either trying to get you to kill yourself or become evil and join the actual abusers and become just like them. Because they actually are trying to make it seem like the evil will not stop, right? Your life will not get better unless you become evil and join them too. That's what they're actually trying to make you believe. And since there's no knowledge about God, right? Humans don't have any connection with God. All these religions, you know, even the correct one, Islam, their view of God is also flawed because they accuse them of being a pervert and sexist and crazy. You're never, ever going to feel like even God can save you, correct? You don't have anywhere to turn. And demons know that because they corrupted religion. So then they're thinking, you're going to do one of these two options. I got you. Then those who are moral, righteous, who could never be evil, they hope they can get you to kill yourself. You get me? Obviously, there's humans who are not going to be evil, but they hope you kill yourself. You get me? And okay, if you're not going to kill yourself, they hope you live like someone who killed themselves. You just live like a dead person every day, miserable. You get me? So if you don't see the bloodline curses, right, that there's demons following families, following their children, making sure the same thing happens to all of them. They target the one that is strong and doesn't ever become like that. That person struggles more in life afterwards. You're never going to understand. Our solution is to see what demons want and then prevent it. So, yeah, as I was talking about the potty thing, if sort of a kid that's a bit old is still peeing on themselves or peeing in their bed and they don't get up at night, it's spiritual. One, obviously, the physical part of it is that is right, abuse, right? They're being abused in a way that they're not able to feel comfortable. Their body's constantly in a state of fear and stress, and you know, it's hard to then regulate normally and go to the bathroom. And sometimes the abuse might cause situations where they prevent the kid from using the bathroom, and not necessarily directly that moment they saw you wanting to go to the bathroom. I don't think people have examples of that too much. It's probably rare. No, demons know you want to go to the bathroom because that moment you got up and you looked at the bathroom, because everyone has a demon with them, right? And there's other demons around us in an environment. We just can't see them, but they're watching us. They're watching our pupils. They're watching you looking at the bathroom. Okay, you're just a kid. They see you get up and walk to it. Boom, they're going to possess this evil mother or father or sibling or whatever. And now you see, that's what I'm saying. It's spiritual. They're going to then all of a sudden question you. Hey, where are you going? What are you trying? I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. They're going to all of a sudden ask you to do something else. They're not going to say, where are you going? Sorry, because that would expose where you're trying to go. No, they're going to act covert like they don't know what you're trying to do. They're going to tell the evil human you want to go to the bathroom. So the human does know, okay, what you're trying to do. That's why they're going to be guilty of this in their sin. They're not just harassing you. They actually know that they're preventing you, right, from going to the bathroom. They're going to just ask you to do something. Hey, so-and-so, go to your room. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And there you go. You're scared to speak up, right, because you were beaten or whatever or threatened anytime you spoke up. You're always trying to go to the bathroom sneakily. They probably harassed you so much when you go to the bathroom. They probably said something like, you better not make mistakes or have problems with when you need to have your potty situations. You know what I mean? Like, even though they're talking to you in a way where they make it seem like they're happy you go to the bathroom. Then they create situations where they scare the hell out of you if you go to the bathroom. Okay, so that psychological torture, that trauma, it obviously affects the body in a way that it suppresses your nerves. Like, you know what I mean? It does things to your body. And then at a certain point, your nerves or your goodness, I'm having a hard time finding the right words. Basically, the areas of your body that need to hold the pee or the feces, is usually the pee, obviously, because feces is a bit too much. Usually it's urine. They get weak. You know, your bladder gets weak. It cannot hold it anymore for you because you've been doing that on a regular basis. So it's just gonna come out. You get me? And then they know, right? Startling a human, scaring them, putting them in a stressful situation also can jump, like just, you know what I mean? Like, it just rushes the human body. Because if you rush the body when it, right, it's feeling like it has to go to the restroom, then whatever, right, that was about to come out comes out. You get what I mean? Because it's like you're hitting them, it releases it. God created us a certain way. That's how you know we're not God, right? We're so weak. So there you go. So fear, startlement, harassment, getting beaten, them maybe attacking your wrist, your hand, any abuse, physical, emotional, psychological, they know actually affects the human body. To release that urine or whatever you had that needed to come out really quickly, you were trying to run to the bathroom, they know. Abusing you, the stress it causes the brain and the body will make it come out. So that's why I'm saying it's spiritual, because many times you probably wondered, how did that human harass you exactly the same time you needed to go to the restroom? Since they're not, right, they don't know what you're trying to do. They don't know your thoughts. You didn't say you want to use the restroom. You weren't necessarily about to open it. It's because their demons are watching your eyes, your face. They can tell you want to go to the restroom as a kid or adult. That moment they can then, as an adult, for example, flood that bathroom. Or all of a sudden it could get full. When you're an adult, they can harass you like that too, like they try to do to me. They always follow me everywhere I go when it's a bathroom. These females would just fill it up, and then they make perverted noises. They argue, they fight, they create problems. They make it dirty. That's another sign of abuse. Dirty bathrooms, because they're perverted. You get me? So all the feces and all the urine, all the blood, all that stuff, they're going to put it all over the bathroom. The place is always going to be dirty. There's going to be pests. That's it, because that's the quality of demonic spirits. They live in dirty places. So if you knew the qualities of demonic spirits, as well as the powers they have, that they can see us, but we can't see them, and they're not just sitting there chilling, just watching you, but they're actually trying to do bad things to you. And when they saw you as a kid wanting to go to the restroom, they're trying to prevent you from going, but in a way that you don't know. The human also knew, by possessing the human that moment, approaching you, hey, so-and-so, come over here, eat your food. All of a sudden, they call you to some random task. And again, they're speaking in a very violent way. You don't feel safe to say no, or you want to use the restroom, because they taught you, if you speak up for yourself, they're going to attack you, and you, right, suppressed yourself. And now, there you go. You're going to just hold in your pee. When you sleep, it's going to come on your bed. Now they have another reason to then use as a false excuse, right, to beat you, yell at you, harass you more, and say it's your fault. See, I didn't do anything bad to you as a parent. How did I do anything bad? You're the one who peed on the bed. If someone was to question them, they're going to be like, what did I do wrong? See? That quality again of blaming the victim and not themselves, because they separated the consequence of the abuse, right? You peeing on yourself from the moment they caused the abuse, which is, initially weeks and months ago. It happened a long time ago, the first initial trauma they caused you. They're still abusing you, yes, but you gave me the initial one that's causing you to suppress your pees, not just an hour ago. It was a long time ago, right? They separated that so far. So then they're going to say, but what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything to them, right? Because the abuse started a long time ago. No one's going to really connect it, that this is why you're not getting up at night and going to the restroom as a kid. Another thing is demons show you dreams and torture you as a kid, and that probably resulted in you not even waking up. So that's what things I saw in that sibling. I never had that issue, right, where I ever peed on myself in a bed or anything like that. And then I knew that that's something the demons wanted to cause me. I knew that's something they wanted. You know what I mean? They caused the other siblings that, because I'm in their family. God put me there, right, to teach me the evil psychology and these types of families. Some of those things obviously are not going to happen to me, because I'm obviously not like them. But some things that you would say have nothing to do with character or my strength as a person, but it's impossible for me to prevent, right? Because I'm a kid and they get to control the house. Certain things, then they get to control it. Do you agree? Right? Like food, they get to then easily just say, oh, I don't have food for you, or just neglect me from eating, etc. And I usually struggled with that. So then what they would do towards me, right, is they would try to always come to the bathroom, usually the males. Anytime I was using the bathroom, anytime, for example, I needed to take a shower, this is another sign of abuse, they always come to the bathroom. They talk to the kid, or they just always try to open the door or whatever. So I never felt safe taking showers throughout the whole time I had to live with the EO family. And because they sabotaged my education and my financial life, and they also neglected my ability to have a healthy social life and get along with people, like know a lot of people. Even though I was really popular, I knew a lot of people, but they were just evil humans. That was sort of my misfortune. But just the idea, right? Since they're in my way, right? They ruined my whole life. God made them do it though. So I couldn't really get out of it. You get me? Because God is making it happen. He wants me to go through that. But a regular person can just get out of the situation. Because of that, it was impossible for me to even find good roommates to live with. You get me? Still, you can find someone to live with, but they're the same. They're also possessed. The typical human around me who was saying hello to me in school was just like them anyway. They're just my age, maybe. Okay, so I remember, right, if I ever knew anyone that was decent enough, right, then I would see that family trying to befriend them. They would try to befriend my own age group, get it? They're kids. That's another sign of abuse because they're perverted. They're trying to be acting like they can be friends with kids. You get me? I would see the older, the middle sort of, because there's one older than me, 1 year, then there's one in the middle. That male who's extremely perverted, he and the 1 year older than me, because the other one didn't really live with us, he'd do it too if he was living with us. They would always try to open my door and watch me, I was awake though. Every time they thought I was sleeping at night. That's another sign of abuse because they're perverted. You get me? I don't think I need to explain that. And then, what else? They would always, that brother, right, the one in the middle, he would always talk to these teenage girls who are my sort of social group. Like, I'm not friends with them, but I just knew them, like just the neighborhood. You're like, hi, I would always see him trying to go into rooms with them. And I would observe and watch. You know what I mean? He would always try to be alone with them. This was Kenya, so it's not in this country. So that's the other thing. So maybe you didn't see these things in your evil family because maybe you didn't have a lot of siblings. But if you did, you see this. Or maybe your father did that. Because the other thing these types of families who neglect children have is they're perverted, okay? It's not just abuse like physical and health and stuff like that. They're also perverted, so they might try to damage the genitals of the child. They might try to tape them. They might, you get me, lock them into rooms and stuff. So that's the extreme examples that I see online all the time. These human beings, these kids, what they suffer. So since God exposed me to see the basics, I can at least, right, in my mind, visualize what the worst looks like, which is not something you can do to me, obviously. I'm just saying I can at least research that, and I know who's doing it. Humans just like that evil family God put me in. So if you've ever suffered any of this, understand you're not a regular person. You're different, okay? That abuse is internal. It went into your subconscious. It went into your internal body system. You're not normal, okay? You have a lot of trauma in you. There's nothing wrong with you. I mean, like, you're not, you're not yay. You're not a happy yay person. You're really someone who needs a lot of care, okay? You need to constantly seek healing for that. You need to go to God and seek healing for that. Promise me you're not going to become weak and dumb and protect those evil human beings or forgive them or let it go. Go to the courts and get them exposed and punish them. Ask God to do what he needs to do to punish them in this life and the next one. Don't ever be weak like that, You can only pray that evil humans repent, but don't ever pray that they don't get punished because you're then going against the pain and the suffering that was inflicted on you or others. You're saying it's nothing. Okay, I don't think you want to say it's nothing. Therefore, they should be punished for it. Don't become stupid, okay? Being moral in the sense that God taught us to tell people to repent doesn't mean God taught us to be weak. You get me? That's not weakness. Repent just means repent and stop being evil. You get me? But they're still going to get punished for what they did. And if righteous people were on this earth, they still punish them in this physical world with courts. So it doesn't mean the punishment is not going to happen. It just means repent. Like, stop continuing to be evil. You get me? So if you even prayed for them, that's all you're praying for, that they just repent. Don't pray for their happiness or for them to go to paradise or anything like that, because that's reward and they don't deserve that. You know, they're gonna earn whatever they need from God. That's their business. So understand that you need to heal. If you went through any of this, and I can understand you, and I know you're suffering, and it's gonna enter your life, those demons that did that to you through those families are still following you. You know, you might obviously have a decent life. I know. That's why you think it's not spiritual, because nothing is following you every day like me. No, I'm sure you've had experiences in your life where it feels like you're just always backsliding or suffering or losing or can't move up in life. That's the same spirits in those families, you get me, that's following you and making sure you don't have the happiness and the blessings God wanted for you. So you need to pray to God to give you those blessings they stole. You need to ask God what his true religion is. Which parts of it is correct, which parts of it is false. You know, when he guides you to what that religion is, which is Islam. So then you don't freak out and think you have to follow the evil in this religion, or otherwise God is going to put you in hell or something. And then 2, don't obviously ever change your morality. You know right from wrong. It's in your conscience. Don't ever care what a religion says or a human says or scripture says. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Evil, harm, abuse, objectification, sexism, limiting, hurting any group is evil and wrong. Just ask God to guide you, because obviously that's a very broad statement. It's not something you can just be like, okay, you know, it needs a lot of explanation. So, but I want you to know that you need help. You need to seek therapy. I don't mean therapy with a human necessarily. You can do it self-healing just by listening to a lot of therapists on YouTube. You can listen to testimonies. Just heal through at least learning what happened to you, understanding what's going on, the effects it had on you, knowing that it's still affecting you today. You probably have a lot of repression with anger. If you feel irritated or mad at someone, I'm sure you don't just tell them. You think it's bad. You think you're right, aggressive or mean, or no. Only immoral is bad. You know, like you actually doing evil to someone, hurting them, mocking them, lying about them, accusing them, cussing, curse. You know what I mean? But if you're friends with someone and they say something that offended you or hurt you, you telling them is love, because that's saying, one, you feel safe enough to talk about it. So you actually respected them. If they're a good person, right? If they're not a bad person and you're so uncomfortable to tell them your thoughts, then you're accusing them of being a bad person that is making you so scared to speak up. If they knew that about you, they'd be telling you, why were you accusing me of making you silent? I didn't do that to you. You get me? It's like you're accusing them. So don't project the evil human beings that raised you, right? Their qualities to other people. Don't do that. And don't associate with humans who are similar to them. Even if it's just their tone or energy, get away, because it's not a coincidence, okay? Evil humans really are the same. They really do walk, talk, act the same. I've seen the same narcissistic humans, right? No matter their ethnicity, race, age. I've actually seen it. Their body looks the same. They walk the same. They have the same type of phrases. If they have small talk with you, they're really similar. So don't think it's weird to put humans in a box because they seem to be very similar and you get away from those ones. Don't think maybe at one point you made a mistake. No, right? As long as you judged and you know they're similar to those qualities of those humans who always try to groom you and act like a big brother, big sister, enter your life, but they're not people you would say are people who are moral and healthy and loving and are a good influence on you, then cut them off. Take care of yourself.